Welcome back to This Week in High School Sports. We're hanging out in Mountlake Terrace today at our show sponsor, Red Onion Burgers, and with us the owner, Sean Richards. Sean, people think of Red Onion Burgers and they think obviously burgers, it's in the name, shakes, fries, other things, but you're so much more than that.
We are. We offer barbecue ribs, our world famous red Cobb salad.
Ooh.
With turkey and ham.
Healthy options, I like it.
Healthy options, and we also offer paninis, fresh fruit, and smoothies, and so much more. So come on by.
21005 44th Avenue, Mountlake Terrace.
Welcome to This Week in High School Sports. I'm Teresa Whipple here with Steve Willitson. We're back from spring break. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back, and we're ready for more sports action. There was a little bit this past week, but some of our teams taking a little bit of time off and getting ready for the stretch run, I guess, for the end of the spring season.
That's right, and we'll get right into baseball. What's going on?
Baseball, nice little run going right now for the, I should say, a nice little standings run, a battle going on between three of our teams. Mountlake Terrace and Meadowdale each tied for first place in Wesco 3A South. Terrace is 6-2, Meadowdale is 5-1, and not too far behind Edmonds-Woodway, 4 wins and 2 losses, and you know they'll be a factor before it's all said and done. They usually are. But we thought we'd bring in some of the Mountlake Terrace players this week. Again, one of their better starts to a season in quite a few years. 8 wins, 3 losses. So we brought the team captains in, Kendall and Max, to talk Hawks baseball. The Mountlake Terrace Hawks baseball team is off to an 8-3 start to their season, 6-2 in league play. One of the better years they've had in a while. And with us right now, the 2 team captains this year, 2 seniors. We have Max Coleman, who is an outfielder and a first baseman, and Kendall Yackley, who is a pitcher and a shortstop. Guys, congratulations on a nice start to the season. Kendall, what were the expectations coming into the year? I know it was a rather young team last year, not a lot of seniors, but some real star power at the top of that senior group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, we lost, Jared Maxfield, our starting pitcher, our ace last year, and our center fielder, Adam Lorraine, and Carson Dallas, and Danny Smart. And so we lost those 4 guys, but we still had, the same core with us, so our expectations really, if we just play our baseball, we've all been playing together for a while, so if we just played our baseball, we knew we'd have a good shot.
Max, how important is team chemistry in baseball? Because it's a sport where, again, there's a lot of individual play. When you're at bat, you're batting by yourself. But really, for a group like this, a core group where there's a lot of seniors and a lot of guys who have played together for a long time, how valuable is that?
It's really valuable because you gotta be able to trust everybody on your team, and if you have that trust, you have that chemistry, then it just flows nicely and it flows well.
So I think we've got 8 seniors on this team right now. Is this a team that's played together for quite a while? Have you guys all pretty much grown up with one another playing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've all been, Alderwood Little League, M2IA, a lot of the guys M2IAs, just playing either with each other or against each other growing up. It's really helped.
Does it make it that much more special, Max, when you've got a group of guys that you've known since you were pretty much, running around just
yeah, exactly,
practically in diapers, so to speak?
Pretty much, and that ties along into the team chemistry. It's easier to have team chemistry if you've known so many people for so long. And you're just comfortable playing with each other and just being able to play with each other, and it just helps the team out a lot.
Is it a team that does a lot together off the field? I mean, are a lot of friendships there, Kendall? Or
yeah, so Saturdays, we have a team bonding here. Last Saturday we went to Beth's Cafe with their big omelets and just bonding together, having fun.
Figure after a big week of baseball, you guys can just kind of
just relax,
gorge out, and get some food in you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do that every Thursday too at Buffalo Wild Wings. So
nice, doing quite a bit together then. Hey, what do we attribute a lot of the success to on the field? Not in terms of the chemistry, but I'm looking at some of your numbers here. Not a huge offensive output this year in terms of necessarily numbers, or certainly not in terms of team batting average. Max, what has been one of the keys to success on the field?
In terms of being able to put up runs and scoring runs, because you said apparently we don't have the big offensive field in that, then it's the base running and just knowing where to go and the on-base percentage and just getting on base and finding ways to score wherever you can, the small ball.
It's the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kendall, for you as one of the pitchers, how vital has the pitching staff been this year so far?
It's great. We got a lot of depth. We've got Dylan Gordon as one of our closers, and Josh Ernst and Matthew Johnson coming in, Brett Sears, all those guys just been able to come in after the starters and get the job done.
Well, who are are we looking at a 3-man rotation right now?
Yeah, so we have Jesse James Martineau. he throws Wednesdays. Then we got Tanner Bow throwing Tuesdays, and then I start Fridays. And so they start, and then with the other relievers that we have, they come in and they just get outs for us.
It's interesting. You noted that it's Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. They changed the format last year. You guys used to play 3-game series against the same school, and now you play a 2-game series against the schools from the West Coast South, and then on Fridays you're playing the West Coast North team. So really, you're not playing any of your local teams as the Friday pitcher. You're more or less going against the Snohomishes and the Arlingtons and the Marysville teams. Do you enjoy that, or would you rather play some of the teams that you grew up around?
I do enjoy it because we've never really played the North teams that much, and so we don't really know what to expect. And it's kind of nice with dropping down to 2A. We're able to go into the 2A tournament. We don't know what to expect, so it kind of gives us that experience of what to expect.
And Max, for you as an outfielder, tell me who you're out there playing with.
It's been Tyson in center field, Tyson Kim, and Tanner Bow is in left mostly. And I'll switch to left sometimes, and then Andrew Younglove and Brett Sears will go into right and something like that, or I'll play right.
And occasionally you're both on the infield. So tell me a little bit about what the infield looks like right now, Kendall.
We got Matthew Johnson. He's locked down at third. Dylan behind him at third. Me at short, and then we have a freshman. He swings, Ryan Kakacian. He plays short too. Johnny Kumai and Lane Zushin at second, and then Jesse at first, along with Josh and Max here.
Is it easy you mentioned the freshman a minute ago, swinging, when you've got a team with so many seniors on it, is it easy for a freshman to come in and be a part of the group, or do you guys try to make it more welcoming, or is there a lot of, we always hear about hazing in sports too. Do you guys give the freshmen a hard time, Max, or what's that mean?
Sometimes, yeah, but mostly it's a pretty nice group, pretty accepting group, so we welcome them.
You figure at some point you might need those guys on the team, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. I mean, we only have 12,
like
13
that.
guys, so it's a small turnout for baseball this year.
okay. Is there a JV team right now?
Yeah.
Oh, there is. Okay. Hey, we talked about you pitching on Fridays. That means that next Friday, if everything goes as planned, if the weather permits, Everett Stadium, brand new turf this year. They're just getting an artificial surface. It's been closed all year. You guys are going to be the first team to play on that field. You're going to be the first pitcher to play on that field. Kind of a cool experience.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be special.
Have you already started to kind of think about that a little bit? or have
I've
you
been thinking about it since day one, seeing the new field.
been trying to follow the pictures that they post online and whatnot?
I just saw a recent video of the completed field, and it looks really nice.
What is it like to play at Everett Stadium? Because again, that's where the Everett Aqua Sox play. So it's a minor league baseball stadium. You got all the seats in there. It has that feel to it with the wall and everything else. Max, does it feel different when you play at Everett Stadium?
Yeah, because you don't usually play at stadiums, and especially that one, since that's a big one, because some of the greats have been through there, and that's just the starting point for the Mariners, and it's really cool to play in that stadium.
I can imagine. We should mention too, earlier in the week, you guys have games against Shorewood coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday. A Shorewood team that's been really a powerhouse the last few years. Might be down a little bit this year, but nonetheless, it's still Shorewood, right, Kendall?
It's still Shorewood. They've always been on the top since I've been coming to Terrace, and so it's always nice to beat them.
Is it easier to get fired up for a game like that, Max, when you know a team has had a lot of success? Do you want to beat them that much more? Or?
Yeah. This coach and our coach have been around the league for pretty much the same time, and he always says that he loves beating Shorewood, and he loves playing them because it's another one of our big rivals. So we get pretty heated up for it.
So West Coast South right now, you guys are in a tie right now with Meadowdale, a team that you play next week on April 17th and 18th. So that should be a big one coming up. Do you guys do standing watching? Do you watch the scoreboards? Do you go home at night after games and look to see what other teams have done, Kendall, or do you just kind of?
I like to focus on us and control what we can, and not really worry about what everyone else is doing.
Max, is there that one guy or two or three guys in the dugout that let you guys know what's going on? Or who is
we
it?
got Matthew Johnson as our stats guy, and he lets us know what's going on around in the league and stuff, and he's always on it. He knows what's up.
See, I figured Corey Takea was going to be the answer to that question, but
Corey isn't in the dugout with us. Well, he has been the last couple of games, but he's focusing on the school newspaper and that aspect of writing. So Matthew plays baseball, goes home, looks at baseball, and lives and breathes baseball.
You need those guys on your team, right? It's kind of interesting. You guys are a 2A school playing in a 3A conference. This is the second year of that. So therefore, you play in a different district tournament at the end of the year. We had Coach Waters in here about a month ago, and he was talking about how he likes that tournament better in some ways, just because of the environment and the atmosphere. Good news, bad news, I guess. And Kendall, it kind of goes back to the fact that you're playing all new teams you really don't know very well, so there's not that familiarity. But at the same time, I guess that goes both ways, right? So do you guys enjoy the 2A tournament, or would you rather be able to play against the Meadowdales and the Edmonds-Woodways and Lynnwoods and other teams around here?
I enjoy it. Last year we went up there, up to Anacortes, and they got the two fields right next to each other, so everyone's there, and it's just a fun experience. You got like the stands packed with teams and fans, and it's just fun.
And Max, we should point out, just because it's 2A, it's no lesser baseball, is it? There's some good teams around this region.
Yeah, there's some very good teams around here, and yeah, you don't know what to expect coming, because it's hard to stay on top of these teams, and you can read the scores, but on the field is a different story. So you don't know what to expect when you get up there.
So again, 8-3 to start the season. You've got 9 more regular season games left. Do you guys put goals on win totals, or does Coach talk about that? Do the players talk, or is it just a matter of going out, taking it one game at a time, and seeing how you do?
Our coach, he's always just one game at a time. He always says the next game's just the biggest game of the year, and so we don't have a goal of we want to be like 15-5 at the end of the season. We just focus on one game at a time.
I guess I should ask you guys too. It's spring break right now, or you're just coming off spring break. A lot of other sports take that week off, or they at least kind of have a little bit of a lull where they don't schedule as much and let people get out of town or do whatever they want. You guys played 3 games last week. Max, is that a good thing? Would you have rather had a little downtime, or is it just nice to kind of keep into that rhythm?
Yeah, it's nice to keep in the rhythm, but I mean, I've never had a spring break off since I've been in high school yet, and every time you go to tryouts, coach is like, all right, you guys can't take spring break off because we will always play games. It's nice in a sense that you just keep going and you keep playing, so you stay fresh. But you always find times to go hang out with your friends afterwards or before, and it's just all right.
And Kendall, I guess if you're going to have to play during spring break, you might as well go out and pitch a victory, right?
Yeah.
Get a nice win against Snohomish on Friday. That had to be a big deal for you. A Panther team, that's always tough.
Yeah, after the game, our coach told us that they had been on a 5-game win streak coming into that, and I had no idea, but it's nice to get that, especially if they've been doing that in the past. It helps us later on and down the road. So
as we start to look beyond your senior year and towards next year, college for both of you, what are the plans? I know, Kendall, you've got a brother, Jaden, who's playing a little baseball right now. Are you going to go join him next year?
Yeah, at the University of Jamestown in North Dakota. I'll be joining him next year.
Now, why North Dakota?
I love the area. A nice and small campus. You got fishing 2 minutes down the road, hunting half an hour away. It's all there. And you'll get to play with Jaden for 1 year? Is that correct? Okay. Yeah. And do I understand correctly? Is he thinking about maybe sticking around a little longer and then coaching a little bit? Depending on his schooling, he might have to take another year of schooling, so he'll be like a graduate assistant for the team. And that's a Jamestown team that's had a lot of success over the years too. So a really strong baseball program there. Max, for you, you're heading out of state, but not to play baseball, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to go to school and go study, and I'm going to study fish and wildlife ecology at Montana State University. Okay, and are you going to Montana State because of the ecology program? Or? Yeah. So we will see how that works out. Until then, though, they've got some baseball left to play, and a lot of good baseball at that. 8-3, again, to start your year. Certainly, we're expecting big things from the Hawks. Guys, congratulations on a hot start to the season, and Thank you. Best of luck, hopefully through districts and maybe beyond. Thank you.
I can remember when my kids both played spring sports, and it was always sort of a frustration for us as we could never take a family vacation because you had to play. Well, and it depends on the sport. I mean, a lot of our softball teams didn't even play this past week, but baseball is one of those sports where they need to get all the games in, and at some point in time, there's going to be makeup dates. There's going to be rain in the Pacific Northwest, so they really don't get that option. And talking to the guys, I know it's a frustration for them. They'd like a little more time off, but I think they also enjoy playing the game of baseball, so it's a trade-off, I guess. Yeah, they're competitors for sure. And speaking of that, what's going on in softball? Softball, again, not a lot going on this past week, but then again, we've been off for 2 weeks, so we thought we'd get you updated on some standings. Much like baseball, 3 of our teams really high up in the standings right now. Edmonds-Woodway, the Warriors, they are 5-0 to start the year in league play, so they remain undefeated. Meadowdale, who is always a force in softball over the years. Dennis Hopkins, again, has another strong team. They are 4-1. Mountlake Terrace right behind them at 3-2. And we're not going to leave Lynnwood out either. We're going to actually give one of their players
our Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week. And again, this is a 2-week award this time around. We're going to give it to Maida Riflin. Hopefully we said her name right. Back on March 26th, Maida went 3 for 3 at the plate with 2 home runs. She also struck out 11 batters in a 12-10 win over Shorecrest. So Maida, the team maybe isn't having as much success as we'd like this year, but you certainly had yourself a ball game, and we're going to give you our Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week.
Oh, congratulations to her. All right, so we have the next sport coming up, which is track, right?
Track and field, and they are ready to go too. They talking about the elements. Fun story coming up in this interview. We're going to talk to a few track athletes who have participated in the snow this year already. Hopefully that's all said and done with, but we caught up with the Lynnwood Royals track team, 3 of their athletes in studio, and talked to them about their season along with a new coach this year. Here's our conversation with the Royals. Spring break is wrapping up this week, and that means it is time for more track and field action. And with us right now, 3 of the members from the Lynnwood Royals track and field team. We have Haely Ferkingstad, who is a sophomore, Brooke Schroeder, who is a senior, and Connor Bjornsen, who is a junior. So 3 different classes represented, 3 athletes that all partake in different events. And maybe that's a good starting point. Why don't we start with you, Haely? Tell us exactly which events you participate in.
I typically do the 1600, the 3200, and the long jump.
Okay, and then Brooke, for you?
I do the 3200, 1600, 800, 4x4, and high jump. So normally I'll do the 32 or 1600 plus the 800 and then 4x4 and high jump.
So in other words, she's busy on track day.
Yes.
And then Connor, what about you?
My primary event is the Javelin, but I also do the Discus for us, so I'm kind of our school's thrower.
So how does that work when we're talking about athletes that do multiple events, especially when you're doing distance running? You tend to get a little fatigued and tired. Does it depend on the actual, whether it's an invitational or a meet or whatever it might be? For you, maybe Brooke, you're the one place we'll start since you do 5 different things. How do you determine which events you're going to do on any given day?
Definitely if we have a hard Saturday meet coming up, I might take it a little easier on Thursday just so I can perform my best on Saturday, because one day is not necessarily enough to recover 100% if I have a super hard day Thursday. So.
And for you, Haely, 1600 and 3200, so that's essentially a mile and a 2 mile. How much time is there usually in between those 2 events so that you're able to recover and get ready to go?
Usually I either pick between the 32 and the 1600. I don't do them on the same day.
And when you say you picked, is that something that coaches decide for you, or is it kind of how you're feeling that day?
Yeah,
or?
how I'm feeling.
Okay. And Connor, for you, easy enough. You're out there throwing, right?
I mean, this year it's a lot easier. Last year I'd have 4 events every meet, and it was a juggling act. But this year with the new head coach, Stephanie, she's been pretty nice about letting me only do 2 events. But they are just about the same time. So I'll throw for Javelin, run to the other side of the stadium, do Discus, and then run back and forth depending on if I get to finals or not.
I've got to think there are a number of people who do Javelin and Discus. So do they give you a little bit of time in between? Do they?
Honestly, there aren't that many Javelin and Discus throwers, believe it or not. It's more Discus and shot put. But all the judges and coaches, they're all pretty lenient. They're all really nice about it, just as long, you come within a respectable amount of time.
So what is it about the Discus? Because I know you're a very good Javelin thrower. I think you finished 2nd in Wesco last year. Discus we're used to seeing, and matter of fact, you had a state champion from your school last year, Harris Keddick. Discus are usually the big bulky guys, the offensive linemen, if you will. Is it an easy event for you, or is it more technique, or how do you survive out there in the Discus world?
Well, with having Harris last year, I was able to watch him for my first 2 years of track. It was really nice to be able to watch a state champion throw. You could learn a lot from him. Plus, he's such a great guy. He actually came back from Arizona to one of our track meets 2 weekends ago, and he coached me up to the Discus, and that's actually when I PR'd, which was kind of convenient. But there's so much technique involved. I mean, it's such a graceful and elegant event. Harris, he figured it out, and he's trying his best to coach me up on it. But obviously, being a javelin thrower, it's kind of hard to learn 2 very technical events. But with the Discus, for me, it's just I just kind of show up and throw it and hope for the best.
And speaking of great athletes who participate in your event, you've had a couple over the years at Lynnwood. Yeah. I know Malia Pivic last year. Does it take a little pressure off knowing that somebody who's capable of winning a state championship like Malia is gone, or is it? I mean, in some ways, did that help you having her there to kind of maybe pace and set everybody along the course there, Brooke? What was that like?
Well, she was a phenomenal teammate and athlete, so I mean, I miss her a lot. because she would always push everyone to do their best, and she was so positive and so nice. So, I mean, I miss her a lot, and yeah.
Haely, when you're doing distance races, or maybe not even the race itself, but when you're training, does it help to have teammates who are comparable to you in time, in the sense that you kind of pace one another, you kind of push each other? What is it like as far as having your teammates there for you?
Like, I really like to have, like, my teammates be there because I can see, like, okay, I need to get there. Like, she's right behind me, or, like, she's right in front of me. I need to catch up.
So it works in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
We kind of touched upon this a minute ago, but we haven't really gotten into it yet. Dwayne Lewis was there for heck since before I was born. He was I think 46-year head coach at Lynnwood. He's been coaching for 51 years. Finally retired this year. So new coach, but really somebody who's not new to the program, right? Connor, tell me a little bit about Coach Stephanie, since it sounds like you work with her even at school a little bit.
Yeah, it's great having Coach Stephanie as the head coach now. She was actually an LHS athlete. She was a great athlete for us when Coach Lewis was still coaching. And having her as a coach, she's such a positive person to have around. She's always encouraging everyone. It's definitely a different mentality than Coach Lewis for sure. Stephanie, she's trying to make more of a family vibe for the team. We have, I believe, just over half of our team is freshmen now, and obviously that's a bit difficult because freshmen don't really know what events they want to do or what they'll be able to succeed at. But Stephanie, she's really good at encouraging students to try multiple different events and tell them it's okay not to succeed right at the start. So, I mean, she's really encouraging to everyone. I work with her at school. She's a para-ed, so she's very good with all the students. It's nice having a coach at school so she's able to check in on people. If someone's having a bad day or she sees a student in the office, she'll always go in and check on them.
And Brooke, for you as a distance runner, Stephanie also was a distance runner herself. Mm-hmm. Does that help you in terms of having a head coach who knows your event a little bit more and can help you out a little bit?
She also coaches cross country, so I've got to run with her there. So it definitely makes a big difference because she knows what's best and she's done it before, so she knows what can make us better. So she has really good advice.
When you, and I'll maybe throw this one at Haely a little bit, when you're doing the 1600 and the 3200, very similar events to cross country, which you do in the fall, is the training regimen similar too, or does it change drastically when you move over to the spring and it's track and field?
Typically it's the same, but we do a lot more on the track, like speed workouts, and then if we go on long runs, they might be like 3 miles, 5 miles instead of like longer.
Mm-hmm. And you're okay with that, I would imagine, to some degree. Hey, as far as the season's concerned, how are things going thus far? Your first, or one of your first meets this year was up in Arlington. Understand the weather was a little different than what you're accustomed to, right? Connor, tell us a little bit about the weather that day.
It definitely wasn't ideal for track. You know, when you think of track, you think of it being 70 degrees, sunshine out, really ideal. But Stephanie, she's shaking things up a little bit. She signed us up for different invites this year, which is nice. We get to see new competition. So we went up to the Chuck Randall Relays in Arlington. But of course, the night before, there was a nice snowstorm that blew through Arlington. So we get there in the morning before the meet. It's probably 35 degrees out with 4 inches of snow on the ground. And like Brooke said earlier before the show, the whole team there was shoveling off the snow, and coaches had leaf blowers to try to get all the water off the track.
Wow. Yeah, as runners, Brooke, what is that like? I mean, you're used to running in rain, obviously, when you're in the Pacific Northwest. I would think that running in snow at a track meet, that's got to be a first for you, right?
Yes, it was my first time in my 4 years. And it makes it harder when it's that cold and there's snow, just because we aren't used to running in that. But they did a really good job getting it all off the track, so there wasn't too much of an issue.
And early in the season like that, you're still kind of getting yourself built up for the year. Obviously, injuries are always a concern too. Haely, does it change your strategy as a runner when you're running in snow in late March, or do you just go out and run your race?
I kind of go out and run my race, but you want to make sure you're like very warmed up before you do that, and like make sure your muscles are warmed up so you don't like injure yourself.
Yeah, kind of important when early in the year like that. Hey, like we mentioned earlier, new team this year, new coach, new traditions perhaps. I understand a team dinner coming up this week, Connor?
Yeah, so Coach Stephanie, with all the new athletes on the team, she's trying to make it more of a family feel for us. So we're starting team dinners now. So at our high school, our football program, they have team dinners the day before a football game. And so we're going to have team dinners the day before our track meets now.
Okay. Is this a potluck, Brooke, or is it a...
This week we're going to do pizza, so that'll be fun, Costco pizza. but we probably will do some potlucks in the future.
Now, Haely, is it a pretty close-knit team? I mean, there's, close to 100 athletes this year? Is that correct?
Just about 100.
100?
Yes.
Okay, so Haely, is it a team that gets along well together? Do they bond? Is there...
I feel like we for sure get along, but like sometimes we split up. Like the throwers are with the throwers, the long distance and stuff, and sprinters are on their own sometimes. But we all come together as a team.
Very good. Hey, and Connor, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you at the Chuck Randall relays. You guys took first place in an event that you're not normally accustomed to participating in. What was the throwers relay? Talk about that.
Yeah, so the throwers relay, I didn't actually encounter this until my freshman year of high school, but it's an event I've seen in multiple invites. So the throwers relay is it's a 4x1 relay, except for it's ran by throwers, not sprinters. And so we had a team of all juniors. We had Ian Bjornson, Matthew Leese, Andrea Boya, and then Felipe Chavarria, excuse me. So those four, they all took first place at the Chuck Randall's relays, and I won a cool T-shirt.
So you didn't get to be one of the four runners. You were.
No, I didn't. I was there for moral support.
Okay. One of those names, by the way, sounded familiar. Who's this Ian Bjornson guy?
He's my twin brother. He's 2 minutes older than me. He's a shot put thrower and javelin thrower for us, and I guess now he's a sprinter for us.
Friendly competition amongst you two when you're both throwing javelin, or how does that work?
He's usually off throwing shot put because shot put and javelin are at the same time. So we don't really see each other throw. We'll pass when I'm running into discus, how'd you do, high five. But besides that, we're pretty chill about it. And we don't try to force competition on each other.
And the two of you have also had siblings go through the school, right, and participate in sports. Haely, you mentioned to me before the cameras were rolling, you had a brother who boxes.
Yeah.
Is boxing in your future, or are you going to leave that to him?
I'm leaving that for him. I'll stick with running.
Stick it out on the track. Hey, Brooke, does each individual runner or thrower, for that matter, do they have personal goals? Does coach sit down and talk to each runner, or is that something you're left to do on your own? And if so, what are some of your goals this year?
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, we actually all sat down and we all wrote out what our goals for the year were. So one of my goals was to break 12 minutes in the 2 mile. My sophomore and junior year, I ran 12:02.
So close, huh?
Yes, so close. And I just really want to break that 12-minute barrier. So that's the goal this year.
So that's a time goal. Do you have other goals in terms of state or placements or anything like that, or is it more about your own personal times?
I mean, I mainly focus on personal times, but I mean, you never know, when Northwest Districts rolls around, maybe I'll make it to state.
There we go. And then as far as you, Haely, what are some of your goals this year?
My goal was to get sub 6 on my mile and to try the 2 mile, and then to also PR in my long jump.
And how close are you on those two events? Long jump, are you getting close? Or?
Yeah, I'm getting close.
And how close are we to that 6 minute mark?
Well, right now I'm at like 6 minutes and 19 seconds, so I kind of have to shave off 19 seconds.
You got about a month and a half to do it, right? Still, so we're getting up there. And then Connor, for you, I know you took second in the javelin in Wesco last year, 13th in state. So what are the goals for you this year? Is it more about distance or is it about placement?
I think for this year, for me, being a junior now, it's more about an individual goal. For me, it would just be about getting to state and trying to do the best I can and get the farthest distance. Obviously, in Wesco, we have some great athletes. We have Gabriel Green up in Arlington. He's a tremendous athlete. And same with Brandon Bach at Terrace. They're great javelin throwers. So for me, I would just like to be able to go to state. And I said Stephanie at the beginning of the year, I wanted to be her first state champion. So I put in a lot of work this offseason, and hopefully I can be that.
We'll see if you can get there then, indeed. And now, as far as the future is concerned, and Haely, maybe we'll leave you out of this one because you're only a sophomore, unless you have aspirations already. Do you have 2 years left still? Have you started thinking about what you want to do down the road? Or?
I'm not sure yet, but like for my junior and senior year, I want to start running start.
Okay. And then, Brooke, for you, being a senior, you already know where you're going next year.
Yeah, I'm going to go up to Washington State University in
And
the fall.
what are we going to study there?
I'm thinking biology and then going into dentistry with that.
Okay, future Coug and maybe a future dentist as well. And then Connor, for you, I know you've got some options open still, but you have a big week coming up next week. Tell us a little bit about what you've got going on with sports medicine.
So next week we have a Thursday track meet. Right after the track meet, I'm going to be driving over to Kennewick for the Washington State Sports Medicine competition, and we're going to start competition 8 a.m. the next morning. So with that, our school, we have a really small sports medicine program. Our trainer, she's phenomenal. She's basically all of our moms. But she's taking 10 of us, I believe, and we're there. We take tests. We do taping competitions really to test our knowledge on injuries and how to decipher certain situations.
So if the trainer's ever busy and you've got 96 athletes on the track team, Brooke and Haely, do you know where to go if you need to? Is Connor is Connor well equipped to take people up? And have you been able to do that with some of your fellow athletes yet?
During football, I got injured the third week and actually took me out for the rest of the season. But I was there. I was a sideline trainer for her, and before practice, I'll roll out students or I'll tape up their ankles if they need.
Not a bad skill set to have. So
Yeah.
So when he's not rolling ankles, though, he's out throwing the javelin and other things, and it looks like a promising year. So hopefully we'll continue to follow the Lynnwood Royals all throughout the track and field season, and hopefully all those personal goals and other things that you aspire to do will all come true. One other thing I wanted to mention too, Haely, tell me a little bit about the steeplechase.
Oh, the steeplechase. It's like it's 5 laps around the track, and you jump onto like these beams, and like you can go into the water, and it's like usually like one meet we do it, and it's a lot of fun.
So not necessarily something you get to do very often, but
Not often, but it's my favorite.
favorite events, a lot of variety, personal goals coming up, and a big season. Haely, Brooke, Connor, thank you all for coming in today, and best of luck this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm glad to hear there's so much enthusiasm for the new coach after having the same one for so long.
Yeah, and again, Stephanie has been there for a while, so they
Yeah.
certainly know her, and that always makes that transition much easier. But and I know they all had a lot of great admiration for Coach Lewis,
Oh,
who
yeah.
was a fixture in high school sports around this area. So congratulations to them on a nice start to their season, and really hoping that they don't have to partake in any more snow events this year.
Yeah, no kidding. Boy, I'm hoping that too, just for my own sake. I'm
Yeah.
ready for sun and warm, aren't you?
Especially when you're in a sport where you're wearing shorts and
Yeah.
short sleeve shirts as well. Yeah, in general, yeah, we're kind of ready to have some
Kinda-
sunshine for a
kinda
while.
done with the snow. And what about soccer?
Soccer, we have a few scores to report, or a few standings to report. Edmonds-Woodway, 5-1. They are atop the Wesco Conference right now with their record. Right behind them, though, Meadowdale and Lynnwood, both 3 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. Surprisingly enough, one of Lynnwood's victories was the Edmonds-Woodway loss. Lynnwood defeating Edmonds-Woodway 1-0, double overtime. How can we resist this opportunity, right? Kevin Diaz from Lynnwood, game-winning goal against the Warriors, and for that, we are giving him the Boys Action Jackson Plumbing Player of the Week. So congratulations to Kevin and his team. And oh, by the way, should we mention Bobby Stoyanoff one more time?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, how many times are we going to have this conversation this year? He had a 6-goal game earlier this year, and we gave him Player of the Week. He's had a 7-goal game, and now he's had an 8-goal game. So he broke his own school record not once but twice this year. 29 goals in 10 games so far. So we'll keep on the Bobby watch for the last 10 games of the regular season and into the playoffs. I don't know what the state record is, but at some point, if he keeps going at this rate, we're going to have to look into it, and we're going to have to keep an eye as to whether or not he's got a shot at it. Who knows?
Yeah, nice. Got a shot at it. Yeah, that's good.
No, I wasn't going for the pun, but I will gladly take it.
All right.
Nice
good.
assist.
Yeah.
Another pun.
Oh, you just have to watch us every minute, I tell you. Okay, well, thanks for the update, and we are back on a regular schedule, and we will see you next week.
Take care.